The great, handsome, spectacular, immaculate, and other such words of flattery, including genius and the greatest of all time, Harvey Specter once said, "I don't have dreams, I have goals." And guys, we are here for it. We're sweating from the passion. The vibe is high and mighty. Some of you are gonna be very inspired by the end of this video, I guarantee it. So listen up. Goals are what all those amazing, rich, and inspirational CEOs once had. They had something to work for, a dream to chase. And when you think of CEOs, what first comes to mind is Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, and of course, the Jeff Bezos. There's something 3 out of the 4 guys have in common though, and that's the fact that their companies started in a garage. From being in a dingy old garage to being one of the biggest brands in not only the country but the whole wide world is just, beautiful. With that said though, let's have a look at some of these companies that all started in a garage. Number 10. Amazon. The greatest online marketplace in the world began as an online bookstore. Amazon was founded in 1994 by Jeff Bezos and began operations in Bezos' garage in Bellevue, Washington. Despite the fact that it took almost a year for Amazon to sell its first book, the company quickly grew tremendously and is today one of the world's most valuable firms, valued at nearly, hold your breath, $300 billion. Yes, $300 billion, all from a garage. Number 9. Microsoft. Another tech giant that has made overall zero carbon emissions a goal and an achievable reality. As far as its origin story is concerned though, fortunately, the founders didn't require much office space to code their first operating system. Another tech behemoth with humble beginnings. When Bill Gates and Paul Allen founded Microsoft, they worked out of a small garage with little resources. They did, however, have an excess of programming abilities, which they used to create their own operating system. They then licensed that for $80,000 and Windows was born a few years later. And well, we kinda all know how that went at this point. Microsoft, with a market capitalization of over $400 billion, has dominated the PC market for more than 2 decades, making Bill Gates the richest man on earth for quite some time. Number 8. Disney. Walt Disney's uncle's garage served as the company's initial film studio. I guess you learn something new every day. The Walt Disney Company, today's media behemoth and taking of everything, had a humble beginning. In 1923, Walt Disney and his brother Roy began filming Alice comedies, which would later become part of Alice's Wonderland in their uncle's garage in Los Angeles. They may not have realized it at the time, but their company is today the world's largest multimedia conglomerate, with a market capitalization of over $150 billion. But just wait for the number 1 spot. That said though, number 7. Apple. Steve Jobs' parents' garage served as Apple's initial workplace. Steve Wozniak designed the first Apple I computer for $500 in 1976, and Apple was then born. Steve Jobs and Wozniak gathered all the supplies and assembled 50 computers in 30 days after a small merchant placed an order for 50 machines. They accomplished it all in the garage of Jobs' parents in Cupertino, California. Apple is now the world leader in technology with a luxurious Cupertino office named Infinite Loop and a market capitalization of over $1 trillion. My man might have had a hard time negotiating with the board of his own company, but he did leave a big mark on the world by accomplishing dreams and being a straight-out-of-a-movie hero. Number 6. Google. Up next is the platform that has told me I've got cancer more times than I can count whenever I look up why my tummy hurts. Google. Yeah, you watching this? Stop doing that. Susan Wojcicki, the current CEO of YouTube, founded Google in her basement. In September of 1998, Larry Page and Sergey Brin founded Google in current YouTube CEO Susan's garage, making it the most famous of all the firms that began in said a garage. Google began as a little college project at Stanford and has now grown to become the world's largest internet company. Page and Brin attempted to sell the company to Excite for $1 million, but the company was turned down. And they're probably kicking themselves now that Google is valued at more than $500 billion. Now that's history. Number 5. HarleyDavidson. Moving out of the tech side, we now go to the motorcycle side. Believe it or not though, the first Harley-Davidson motorcycle was made in a wood hut. William Harley had always aspired to be a motorcycle designer. He had designed an engine to power a bicycle when he was only 20 years old. Honestly, most of these people are making me rethink my entire life here. Time to go have Google tell me I have cancer again while I look up how to deal with an existential crisis. Moving on though, he and his childhood friend Arthur Davidson built their motorcycle in a wooden shed in Milwaukee, Wisconsin over the next 2 years. They first introduced Harley-Davidson in 1903, and the brand is today synonymous with high-end luxury motorcycles, having a market capitalization of over $10 billion. What am I doing with my life? Number 4. Hewlett-Packard. Hewlett-Packard was founded in 1938 by Will Hewlett and Dave Packard in Packard's garage in Palo Alto, California. Their first product was an audio oscillator, which was ordered by Walt Disney for his film Fantasia. For the film, Disney purchased 8 oscillators, and their initial investment was a mere $538, but the company is currently valued at over $13 billion. Did someone say growth? Well, either way, they did. Number 3. Mattel. Mattel started off as a picture frame manufacturer, but its most famous product is the Barbie doll. Harold Matson and Elliot and Ruth Handler, the company's founders, started out in a garage in Southern California, making dollhouses out of scrap materials. When their dollhouses began to outsell their picture frames, they decided to shift their focus to toy manufacturing.
Really? You'd think there'd be more of a market for oversized paintings of other people's families.
And honestly, everything did work out nicely for them. They're currently the world's largest toy manufacturer with a market capitalization of $10 billion. Number 2. Dell. Moving back to the computer space, next on the list is another tech giant. Seriously, how many of them have we had here so far? Michael Dell constructed his PCs in his garage as well. Michael Dell, much like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and Mark Zuckerberg, is a college dropout who made it big in the computer industry. He began building personal computers for humans in 1984. He dropped out of college almost a year later to focus on growing his business, which had already proven lucrative in the first year. And honestly, that expansion paid off handsomely for him, establishing Dell as one of the most formidable competitors in the computer manufacturing industry and boosting the company's value to more than $50 billion. Number 1. Nike. The last one is one of the coolest brands ever, the one with the mantra, just do it, and to begin with, Nike didn't even have a garage. If you believe a garage is too small to establish a billion-dollar company, consider this. Nike began in a vehicle trunk. Yes, that's correct. In 1964, Nike was founded as Blue Ribbon Sports in the trunk of Phil Knight's Plymouth Valiant. One Bill Bowerman, Knight's coach at the University of Oregon, tested the shoes on runners while Knight was designing them. They couldn't even find any shops for the first 2 years. Nike, though, is now the world's largest sports apparel and accessory producer, and the corporation is currently valued at a staggering $90 billion. Take that, haters. Honestly, saying anything would feel like an insult to these amazing companies, so I'd like to finish with the words of the man who made the entrepreneurship cool, Steve Jobs.
I was lucky. I found what I loved to do early in life. Woz and I started Apple in my parents' garage when I was 20. We worked hard, and in 10 years, Apple had grown from just the 2 of us in a garage into a $2 billion company with over 4,000 employees. We just released our finest creation, the Macintosh, a year earlier, and I just turned 30.
We are going to make it or break it based on whether we can provide products to higher education and services and relationships to higher education that no one else provides. And I think we ought to spend 100% of our time thinking about that. And if we can't do that, then we ought to go broke.
Well, friends, that's it for today's video. Let us know if you enjoyed it by hitting that like button, and also subscribe so that you don't miss any of our amazing videos. I'll wait for you in the next one. Later, everybody.